my friends. It is time again for our monthly challenge for the Social Selling Success Society group. And I have prepared for you this month the Social Selling Success Challenge. So these are tips and tricks and research that I have done over the years of me building my business online for the last 5 years. I have paid a lot of money to learn these things. I have went through a lot of trials and errors to learn these things. So I am so happy to be able to share my knowledge with you. And actually, when I share my knowledge, then it helps me to remember better. So it benefits me too. And that's why I love to teach. And so I hope that I am able to help you to walk away after our 4 days of training. Don't worry, it's not going to be 4 days long total. It's about 45 minutes, no more than an hour, depending on if people have a lot of questions or comments. And so you can expect it to be 45 minutes about each day. We'll come on live every day at 7. If you're here, then I get to interact with you. Hello, Mary. What I'm going to try to do is get this to come up on my computer so I can see it a little better. I don't know if you guys have this problem, but if I wear my glasses, then the lights glare. But if I don't have my glasses, it's really hard for me to see. And then my contacts make me feel blurry. They just aren't quite right. So anyway, tonight what we're going to be going over is the Social Selling Challenge. So if you have not printed your workbook, I put it all in one document. There is an online fillable that you could just bring up on your computer and follow along. Or if you wanted to print it and have something, that's really good, because when we take pen to paper, anytime we do that, if we take notes, it will help us to remember. So I do encourage that, but I do put both on there because I know a lot of people don't always have printer ink, and I don't want that to be your excuse. So I made it online fillable for you. But what we're going to be going over tonight is the first section, and it is really just laying the foundation of what social selling is and what it's not, and how you can use it to benefit you, how it will benefit you. And I think you're going to find it really cool. Even when I'm preparing these things, even though I know these things, I get really excited because I just love information. So I'm trying to, let's see. Hi, Lucretia. Nice to see ya. So glad you guys are here with me. I appreciate it. I have a few people that said they're going to be on, so hopefully they will join us. I'm going to try to refresh my browser and see if I can get it to come up for me here so I can join in on the viewing right here. And then I'll be able to see your comments, hopefully. I don't know. There I am. There's probably a delay. Am I already muted? Sorry, guys. Technical challenges here. I was trying to connect my camera. See, I have a problem. My laptop, the camera on the laptop, even though it's a Mac, it's horrible. And then I had an external webcam, and that was horrible too. So the best thing that I have, which is good news, because we're going to be talking about how to use this as a tool, I just have an iPhone, and it's working fantastic for being able to see. So now I can see a little bit bigger, so hopefully, I don't know how much of a delay it will be there. Hello, May. And that way, I might have to look down a little bit sometimes, guys, but I can see this just a little bit better, so I'm going to try to follow along with you here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here. So we can get right into it. The first thing I have on the first part of your worksheet, so make sure you get your worksheet or follow along because I will be referring to it. It will help you, is that we have a new sales model. Things have changed. And we've been seeing this change and shift, but some people hold on to the old models because it's what's comfortable. And what we are seeing now is such a shift to online. Now, just like we have this capability to be live together, just because it's online doesn't mean that it needs to be disconnected. Just because we're virtual doesn't mean that there's a lack of energy or that it's bad in any way. And so there's a lot of great tools that we have at our disposal now in order to make social selling feel very much like when you're in person. But the old model that I put on here is, of course, you used to have to just make cold contacts. Back in the day when I first got in network marketing, you would have to literally go to the mall or go to the play place or go to the McDonald's and try to hope that you can enter into conversation with someone. And it was brutal to try to do that. It felt really, really uncomfortable. And so some of us still have had to do that because you have to broaden your circle. May, who is on, she's doing some brilliant things in her community and doing some cooking demos and some things to bring people into the fold, people that she didn't know. She's creating opportunities for her to meet people because we need to be able to meet new people and broaden our circle. But we don't have to do it like we used to have to do it. There's a lot of different ways because now she can make a Facebook post to invite people. So this is the day and age that we're living in. And so then it used to be you had the cold contact, then you had to warm them up or see if they were a qualified prospect, if they would even be qualified to buy whatever it was that you had to sell. And then you needed to, a lot of times, go to their house, see them face to face in person. You had to drive in your car and you needed to go there. And I know a lot of ladies in this group are in the paparazzi jewelry. And so back in the day when I was in jewelry, I had to drive and do shows all the time. And I was a lot of times in my car and it would take hours. Sometimes if you get stuck in traffic, you're gone for hours and hours and hours from your family. And now with the internet and social selling, you can pop on your phone for a half an hour from the comfort of your home and you're done and you can make about the same amount of money. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to throw all of those things away, but it used to be that you had to do the presentations, the shows, all of that in person. That's no longer the case. Now we can do a lot of things online. And that's what we're going to be talking about, is how to do it properly so that it actually works. So the new sales model is that we use our social platforms. We're going to be going into depth into what those social platforms are. I'm going to give you some insights into each of them, but we all pretty much know them, right? Our social platforms are the way that we communicate with people these days. So we can start there to build relationship. We can take those people that we don't know, those cold contacts, and start warming them up, which you're going to learn all about. So once we have those social platforms, then we have that opportunity to nurture and engage. When social things first started happening, the social platforms first were introduced, it was very much a one-way conversation. You were just talking at them, and now we have really learned that it actually, the way they've changed the algorithms, we have to engage our audience, or they won't show our posts to people. People will not see it. And so unless you are going in and messaging people and asking them to look for it or to come live, they're not even showing people the opportunity to see it. Because if you're not engaging, they're not going to help you out unless you're paying. And so I want you to recognize that we no longer can just make a passive post talking at people. We need to do things that are very engaging and inviting conversation and then talking back to people. And then we want to make sure that we are putting valuable stuff on our social media. So when I was back in the day in Leah Sophia Jewelry, I used to just post like, we have a sale, look at this beautiful jewelry, wouldn't you like to own this? It was just kind of like a advertisement, really. And that is not what people want at all. And so we have to find other ways, and I'm going to teach you other ways for us to communicate with people to get them interested in what we have without having to just talk to them about saving money as a sale, because that's just not enough anymore. All right. So I guess this is just not going to update on its own. My whole plan is failing, you guys. So how are you? Tell me, what are you guys most excited about on social selling to learn about? Did you look at the worksheets? What do you think? Do you feel like it's going to be some good information? I would love to hear from you. So we can go right into the benefits of taking the time to build your online presence. It does take time. It takes effort. We have to be intentional. Life is never going to stop and let us just make time for this. We're going to have to make it a priority. We're going to have to do some planning. But by the time we're done on day 4, you will be able to have 30 days of social media posts planned out. And when you have a plan, it is so much easier. You know what I did? I went through and I planned out every single one of the challenges that I'm doing for this year. I did every single day with bullet points of what I'm going to be talking about. And I did a whole plan for the training so that I can start showing up for you guys. I had said that I'm going to be doing once a week training, and I now have a plan to do that. When you have a plan, it's so much easier to execute. So at the end, you will have a plan and you will understand how to create a plan as well. So this is not working at all, so I won't even try. I'll just squint at you if you guys don't mind. Hi, Darlie. Hi, Jamie. Nice to see you here. All right, so this is what we're talking about, the benefits of taking the time to build an online presence. It compounds and duplicates your efforts. I think you understand that, but what is really cool, particularly in certain things like YouTube, like me as a podcaster, Pinterest, those things are like evergreen. So even when it's more than a year or two and you've created a lot of content, then you can actually 3 years from beginning to create content, something can go viral and your world could just turn upside down. It's the most amazing thing. So we need to know how to use the platforms correctly. The way that I'm using Facebook, because of course when you do a Facebook post, it disappears, right? But if you have a group, then at least you are nurturing the people in the group and you're building relationship with them. So that's compounding your efforts because you're building know, like, and trust on a Facebook group. So it's a really worthwhile effort to do these things because it really will compound your efforts. It's, of course, now we have these opportunities in these social platforms to build a personal brand. I mean, I gave myself a company name, Inspiring Your Shine. I have branding colors that I'm going to talk to you guys about. We want to do these things because it makes us memorable as the big brands that we know today. Nike and Pepsi and all of that, they use all of these tactics that I'm going to be talking about a little bit about branding, and we have an opportunity to have a platform for us to create our own brand. Hi, Mindy. Nice to see you here. So the other great thing is that we have worldwide access, and we can meet new customers daily or potential new customers. I'm going to be talking about specific tactics later on how we can do that. But even in the Social Selling Success Society group, there is at least half of the people are people that I began interacting with and I didn't even know before I started the group. And I have about 42 people at this time in the group, and that is just from, I'm not kidding you guys, that's from 4 different days where I sat down for maybe 45 minutes or an hour and I interacted. And I met maybe 20 new people that I'd never known before. It's powerful. It's so powerful. Hi, Jessica. You guys are awesome. So many people on here with me. Thank you. So it's a place to build trust so that you no longer have to do that really uncomfortable cold calling, cold lead, trying to get them to book an appointment with you. Because it used to be, if you run into somebody, you meet somebody cold, then you had to try to drop your message right then or ask for their phone number uncomfortably. But now we can basically try to be like, oh, I really enjoyed getting to know you. Can I follow you on social? And that doesn't feel so offensive to people. A lot of times when I would go to networking meetings, that's what I would do. Instead of giving business cards, I would just ask them to follow me and I would follow them, because I knew that was a way for me to build engagement and relationship with them. And if I just got their business card, I was never going to do anything with it. So those are the ways that things are transitioning. It saves you time and money, like I already said, because you don't have to leave your home and you're not spending all of that time traveling, which is really great, particularly for those of us that have family needs. We can't just work all the time. And it also is really great because you can build a business online while you are working another career and transitioning. So you don't have to choose one or the other. That's really cool, don't you think? And let me see if there's anything else important here, because you have the list yourself. So, so selling takes repetition. So most people need to hear your sales message 6 to 8 times in order for them to take action. And when you're doing things online on different platforms, you can reach people at different touch points and different ways, and you have a lot more versatility in the way that you're approaching your sales message. And so you can put that repetition out there and you can speed up the process. So it doesn't have to take weeks and weeks and months and months. It can almost be like under a week turnaround to take somebody from a complete stranger to all of these different touch points of you adding value to them and then them becoming a customer who buys. It's really incredible. I hope that you guys are understanding the power that we have in front of us nowadays that we didn't used to have before. But just like any tool, we have to know how to use it properly, because a lot of people are using it improperly. And if you will do the things that I'm going to be talking to you about today, and you'll start implementing these points. I went to a great measure, many hours to put this together for you guys so that you would understand the most important things that you should be doing when you're interacting on your social channels. And I can tell you, Jessica, who's here, she does amazing. So if you wanted to follow Jessica, how do you say your last name? Midkiff, Midkiff. You could see her in the comments saying something. If you were to follow her, you could see her post. She does such a great job in social selling. But I appreciate that you're here, Jessica. We can always learn, right? All right. So I want you to know that social selling is not spam. Now, we've all experienced that. And it really is 95% relationship building and only 5% selling. Now, I want you to have a really honest moment with yourself right now. Are you selling or trying to solicit more than 5% of the time rather than doing the relationship 95% of the time? I think we're probably flip-flopped in a lot of us, or at least 50-50 maybe. So we need to make sure that we are really engaging and creating relationship more than we're selling, because one, that relationship will feed the selling. It really will. And this kind of thing, social selling, is not easy because you have to be consistent and persistent. And like I said before, it takes so much intention. You can't just fly by the seat of your pants and hope that you have a really great social selling strategy. You really will have to sit down, make a plan, work your plan, show up, be consistent, have a servant heart. And so it's not easy because all of that takes energy. All of that takes you putting it at a priority in your life. But again, it'll be so worth it, much more worth a lot of the other things that we are spending our time at. Hello, Laura. Thank you so much for joining us. So the other thing that social selling is it's not a place to be fake. Now, when the social media first started coming big and you had all the people building these really big Instagrams and I used to call it the Pinterest world, everybody was being so fake. And they were only putting the good things out there. Pretty much, if somebody was like talking about how great their marriage was, it was a good indicator that it was a horrible marriage. You know, people were just pretending and they were being fake and they were creating these personal brands that were not authentic. And so it's really important for us to be very authentic. That is what people want to see. That is what's selling now. People are no longer about anything super made over where it looks like it's fake, it looks corporate, it looks too overdone. People want real. They want to have true connection. Would you guys say that that's true for you? And Jessica, thank you. So make sure that you're just being real, showing up and being real. That was something that was so uncomfortable for me, not because I'm not real, but just getting on and feeling like everybody's going to just see, like, they're going to see me. They're going to see that I'm aging. They're going to see my flaws. And that felt so intimidating. And I had to get over myself. And you do too. All right. So when we have our pages that we are being intentional about our business on. So we may not always on our personal business. We're usually doing a pretty good job at keeping it pretty personal. Every once in a while we drop something subtly about our business. And then a lot of us have group pages or business pages that we do more of our selling. But what works well now is even in your business stuff to have more of you. People want to see you. So something about my husband is he has a very successful Instagram account. He is a Lego collector and he photographs Legos. He's very humorous. He does some really fun things. And he always does like his favorite things of the month or the most popular posts that he did. And I had told him, you need to show your face. You need to be in the photos instead of just like your clever little Lego scenes. And he didn't want to hear that. But when he took a picture of himself in his Lego room, it like most liked post ever. It got almost double the likes. And then he did a picture of, it's still one of the most liked photos that he's done. He made a what's called a sig fig of the little Lego character of him, and he has a hat that matches and the thing next to each other, and that one blew up. People want to see you. So that's just an example, but we need to be putting ourselves out there in, even with our products, using our products, wearing our products, us, our face, not just the thing. You got to make it personal and business mixed together. It is not a place for selfish ambition. If you are only about you and getting the sale, people will sense it. And you might get a few people at first, but they won't refer their friends. Because even if you get them to buy and they have that sick feeling because they were taken by you because you just want to sell, then it's not going to get you anywhere long term. You're going to keep burning through people. You're going to keep working hard to get more people. What we want is to create a group of people that we can have a long-term relationship with, that they're going to love us, refer their friends, that at some point it is just something that's growing mostly on its own and we're just maintaining it. So that's what you're looking for, the long term, and you cannot be selfish and do that. I'm sure nobody on here right now is like that, but I just want to put that out there because it will never work. And we all know people like that, right? And then it's certainly not about vanity or followers. You know, you don't have to have 10,000 followers to be successful, and not at all. And we don't want to ever take advantage of whatever people are listening to us, engaging with us. Love on them, appreciate them, because even if they aren't buying for you right now, they might be like a source of referrals for you. They might be bringing other people in for you, even if they're not buying from you. So it's pretty cool how it works. All right, so on the next page, this is what we'll get into a little bit of the basics of social selling. So this is what this looks like. I put kind of like icons here at the top. So I'll just tell you a little bit about what I know about each of these platforms. And I have no idea what time it is, so I hope I'm not going over too long. I have no sense of time. So Facebook. Facebook is the most personal of all of the social media platforms. And so that's what I said already about, like, you want to have a business page or a group if you're going to be doing, make sure that you're creating the audience that wants to hear it, because if you're blowing up your personal page all the time and there's a lot of people that it's not relevant to and they don't care, they'll be bothered. So even when I committed to start doing lives, I tried to purposely pick topics when I was going live on my personal page, and I was purposely going live on my personal page because I have like 1,700, 1,900 followers. I don't even know, but it's a good number of people, so I had better chances, right, of getting more views. But I really made an effort to only talk about a topic in a way that could be relatable to most people. So I was really smart about it. And so we have to think about that. If you're going to show up in people's feeds on Facebook, it needs to be relevant to them, or they're going to be annoyed, and they're going to probably just unfriend you or block you. The next one is Twitter. I don't use Twitter that much. Do any of you guys use Twitter regularly? But Twitter is great for witty people. It's great for people that have a lot of updates. And so let's just say if you're a real estate agent, you could use Twitter to just give updates in the markets or in your area or something. Quick little tidbits. It's also a place to kind of just share quick information. Like I just dropped a new podcast, go listen. I get some clicks from my Twitter doing that, but I don't really tweet much of anything else. I'm not very clever, just as a person, unfortunately. And so Twitter's not really my thing, but it really is effective, and a lot of people still like Twitter. Of course, YouTube is great because YouTube's a search engine. And like I said, YouTube's one of those things that if you start building content on YouTube now, then it could take off years from now. Because once you have that content in there and then YouTube recognizes you as a trusted source, they will recommend you, and people will come across you when they're searching because it's a search engine. And it's a little bit different with keyword research, which I'm not going to get too much into, but I am going to do a special training about keyword research, so maybe I'll talk to you about that then. But yeah, YouTube is phenomenal, and it's one of the fastest growing, and next to Google, it's the second largest search engine. So I am actually going to be starting doing YouTube this year. And then we have Pinterest. Pinterest is another search engine, and it is great for people that have information to share. If you're in the health industry, if you are in the fashion industry, if you are in like oils, it is a great place. If you were to create pins, there's just some strategies with it where you have to be really consistent for other people to see your pins. You have to share other people's pins and be active on the platform. But Pinterest is amazing. If you don't know much about how to use Pinterest for business, I would definitely recommend taking a course in that. Jenna Kutcher has a great course. Melissa Griffith has a course in Pinterest. It's great. Instagram is, of course, very visual. That is where a lot of people were building like those really interesting brands that were like, they're kind of fake, not really real. But now Instagram is starting to do the stories and video and Instagram TV. Oh, that's not what it's called. Somebody tell me what it's called. It's not called that. Maybe it's called, I don't know, something. But you can do like a 10-minute video on there, and a lot of people are starting to do that because now, in case you didn't know, Facebook owns Instagram. So they're doing a lot of similar things, and they are also have changed the algorithms to really be engaging. Like if you're not engaging with your people, responding back to them, then they won't show your post to as many people. And then if you guys don't know this little logo here, that is Snapchat. And Snapchat has a lot of younger users, like 25 and under are mostly the ones that use it. But the young ones usually start the platforms, and then the older people start coming onto the platform, and then it can begin to grow for business. So that's the case for Snapchat. Now, most of the kids use Snapchat, but they've moved on to TikTok, which I didn't put on here, but TikTok is going to be an up-and-comer. So maybe your audience isn't on there yet, but here in the next year or two, TikTok is going to be all the rage. Mark my words. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about TikTok. But anyway, the kids will start a platform, and then once all the adults start using it, they will kind of find a new platform. But those are really great platforms. Snapchat is really good for like behind the scenes, in the moment kind of things. Then this is what's really cool about Snapchat that you may not know. 90%, I believe it was 90% of the Snapchats that you send to people are seen. That's amazing because as we know in Facebook, it's like 5% unless you're paying. So pretty incredible. And then the last one I have on here is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is where a lot of the older, like 55 and up, if you're 55 and up, most people 55 and up are on LinkedIn, and more people are creating LinkedIn profiles. And what's great about LinkedIn is like an online Rolodex, and then it's a way to connect with and get introductions to people that you don't know through people that you do know. And it also has a really cool search engine for you to find prospects. And they have a whole other paid for thing. I think it's like $29 a month. LinkedIn has some really cool tools. But again, we have to know where our audience is. So most people from ages, well, mostly everybody up to age 60 is on all platforms. But most people are using Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for sure. All right. So now let's get into building an identifiable personal brand. When you are branding, and this is something that I teach in my course, it's called Authentically You, and the in-action result that I give you is I help you to really understand who you are so that you can build a very authentic brand. Branding is so important for you to stand out. So you have to brand yourself apart from the company that you represent. This is something I've seen so many people do, is that they will have their company puts really beautiful tools and gives them access to them, whether it be newsletters, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, and they just repost whatever it is that the company gives them. People know that that's just a corporate thing. They don't care. Matter of fact, I get people sending me the Mary Kay things every month, and I never ever look at it. It might have valuable information in it, but because it's not personalized, it doesn't feel special to me. I don't look at it. So branding is so important for you to represent yourself apart from your company, to create your own brand. And what's really cool about that is if you create your own brand and your company is a part of that, but not all of it, then if you switch companies, then it won't even matter, because they're following you. They care about you, not the company, not that brand necessarily. So keep that in mind. And the other thing is, even if you have a company that sells a lot of different things, I recommend that you really get known for just a couple of those things. Niche down so that you can be heard. Because if you're talking about all the things, so, like if your company offers cleaning things and healthcare and diet stuff, pick one lane. And that's what you really, really focus on, is you're driving and building your customer base. And then once your customer base starts to grow there, then you can add something else and really focus there. Maybe you could even do one quarter you focus on health, another quarter you focus on the cleaning or something. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of great companies that have a really big product line, but it's really hard for people to get to know all the different products. So it's good for you to talk about just a few. Make yourself memorable with brand colors and phrases. So when I post things, you guys may have noticed I use a lot of black and white pictures with a pop of yellow. I use some orange, and so my colors are like gray and yellow and orange. And a lot of my stuff is now becoming more and more identifiable because I'm really dialing in on my brand. So it's really important, because when people see a post of mine, they get really familiar with it, and they'll know that it's from me, just like they'll know it's from you if you get really specific. Now, the thing about colors, you want 2 or 3 colors. You don't want to use much more than that. It's it can look really too loud. You could do whatever you want, but just for most of the time, just to be more identifiable. Be clear and simple with your messaging. This is something I've had to work on so hard, because I want to tell everything. I am like a big picture person, and it's really hard for me to get really, really simple and simplistic. But we need to remember that if people need to burn brain cells to try to understand what you do, that's going to give them the I don't care. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are being very clear and simple with our messaging and what we, when somebody says, what do you do, then you need to have a very simple, clear message in order to tell them that they can understand. And this is not easy for a lot of us. I was in another group that Jessica was in, and it was really difficult because we all had to come up with this short messaging, and it was brutal for most of us. So it's something that you just need to know that you need to do. You might need help with. All right, the next one is to be authentic. So I already said that people don't want fake, they want the real you. So you need to be authentic. You don't want to create a curated version of yourself that isn't even real, that isn't even you. Just be yourself, because that is what people are going to connect to. And don't worry about they're not going to like me, and so I have to be this particular way. That's not true. People will like you being exactly who you are. I used to get really embarrassed about if I stumble over my words, or I will start to speak and I will, right in the middle of my thought, after I've spoken 3 words of the sentence, switch gears and go over there and start saying something completely different. And I really started noticing that when I podcast, because when I edit, and it was humiliating to me that I do that, but it's part of who I am. I do it in real life too. And so it's just the way my brain works so fast. And so it just happens. I already told you to be using photos of yourself. That's so important for you to use photos of yourself, and be willing to share stories of your struggles and your triumphs, of course, but your struggles. Now, I'm not talking about going and dumping on people. What we like to say is you want to share your wound that's healed rather than your gaping, like if it's still bleeding and you can't hardly talk about it without crying, it may not be time to fully share it. You might allude to it. But we want to share with people the things that we have struggled with, what we've overcome, and be real and tell stories about our struggles. It will actually connect people to you. It's actually pretty cool. I remember I was recording a podcast and I started crying and I wanted to edit that out so bad, but I left it because I was like, people need to feel that from me. All right, so the next part is create a positive online reputation. You have to show up and offer really valuable information. And not only offer information, but try to do it in really bite-sized pieces. This is something I really struggle with. I want to tell you a complete picture, and so I'm really still working on this. But we have to remember that people can't remember. So I'm just going to give you the examples of, like, if you sell oils, you need to be talking about lemon oil and the uses of it over and over and over and over, because people don't remember. Because I can tell you, I still don't know. I have lemon oil in there. I don't know how to use it. And so don't be afraid to repeat yourself. People need that repetition. They need you to be telling them over and over and over. You're the expert. They are not. And make yourself trustworthy and memorable by being consistent. And so people will trust you because you're consistent. You're going to hear me say this throughout this training so much. Trust and consistency. They go hand in hand. And so if we are popping in here and there when we have a great seller, a great offer, and we get all excited, or we come back from a conference and we're posting and all excited, but then we disappear, that doesn't build any trust. So we need to make sure that we are posting consistently and create valuable content that helps your customers find you. So I'm going to be at the end helping you guys to create pieces of content that is shareable content where people can share it for you to get referrals back to you, and content that makes people be able to find you, content that is branded to you, that has your name on it, and things so that it can actually come back to you and they're like, wow, this was an incredible resource. What else does she have? We need that. All right, so that is how you create a really good online reputation. I didn't tell you what I was talking about there. Is being consistent, giving valuable information, and having shareable content. And once you have enough shareable content, so content can be things like YouTube videos, my podcast is content, a blog post, Pinterest pins, all of that sort of content can be shared, and other people can then find you. It can come back around. Somebody can come across it. They share it with a friend. That friend can come find you. And that's what you want. All right. The next one is engage. Use your social platforms to have conversations. So this is something that's really interesting to me, is that we know what etiquette is in real life, right? If somebody were to speak to you and they had a comment to say to you, you wouldn't just ignore them. But we do it online all the time. And so we have to get good at engaging with people, not only engaging with them and seeking them out and engaging on their posts, but when people engage on our posts, we need to reply back. And what we want to be sure of, and I might say this somewhere else, but we want to make sure we say something more that it wouldn't sound like a bot was saying it. So try to actually have like a conversation, like say something like you would in person. Sometimes we get really lazy and we just want to do one word things. And you know what? If you're going to do just that, that's at least something. But let's get better at that. Let's get better at engaging and having conversations. Think about it like, how would I respond to this in real life? Because it really doesn't have to be that different nowadays. We're in virtual reality, but it doesn't need to be so disconnected. And you need to seek out and engage with your ideal customers in groups and on company pages. So, of course, what you can do is you can search in Facebook, and it even gives you, like, do you want to search people? Do you want to search posts? Do you want to search groups, pages? And you can kind of filter it. You could search for some of the topics that you know that your ideal client would be interested in and try to find the groups that they're hanging out in, join the groups and start engaging with people. start being of value. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but that is how we start engagement. The other thing is, a lot of you work for big corporations. You are a representative of a bigger conglomerate, right? And what you can do is you can start showing up on your company's page when people have questions. Answer those questions for them. Be like Johnny on the spot with like, let me help you. Not, I want to sell to you, but let me be helpful, even if I get nothing out of it, even if you're just looking, Or what about if you were to seek out competitors' pages that share your ideal client and start answering questions for those people too? Because you can like their pages and you can comment on their posts. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. The other thing is to make sure, I already said that, to make sure that you respond and like and comment on other people's pages. So when you have customers, it makes them feel so good if you engage with their stuff and you support them. So make sure that you are also supporting other people the way that you want to be supported. It's back to that old adage of is that how you say that? I don't know. Why do I even try to say those little sayings that I don't know what I'm talking about? Anyway, if you want to have a good friend, then be a good friend. So that's what we have to keep those things in mind. Those principles don't change. It's so true, even on social media. The next one is nurture. And that is that we need to nurture our clients by using social media as a way to connect and build trust with them. And it's a great way to warm up new contacts and new clients. Even a customer that just bought one thing from you, if you become Facebook friends with them, you can start building that relationship and it will create trust. Now, there's a whole day coming up in our day 3 about building how to get people to know, like, and trust you online. And I'll give you all kinds of tactics. Now, again, you're going to hear some overlap, but repetition is good. And so maybe you'll actually remember those things that I say 5 or 6 times. So I need to not feel guilty if I'm repeating myself, because it'll help you remember. All right, so stay in touch with your current customers and support them online. And if they have, like, let's just say that you have a customer that bought something for you and they have a business. If you were to like refer people, like just say, check this out. If you've never been here, share it on your page. Be supportive and try to promote other people's businesses like you would want people to promote yours. And it really goes, so few people do it that it makes an impression on people. It truly does. Now we're getting here to the last one before you guys will be left with your homework. I have no idea what time it is, but I have completely been off my game forgetting to ask for too much engagement. So you guys might just be, doing something else. You might even not be paying attention anymore. But I just want to ask you, do you have any questions? Do you have any comments about what I've been saying? Does anything resonate with you? Is there any pet peeves that you have that people have done to you? Now, even if you're on the replay, I want to tell you, you can still engage with me. I still can see the comments. They'll still give me a message and I can still talk back to you, even if it's not in real time. So let's make sure that we're interactive here. Take advantage of the fact that I'm showing up here, and here when we're done with the content, I can still be here. If you wanted to ask questions or engage, I can do that for you. I'm here. So utilize me. All right, so the last thing, let's see, did I handle everything on nurture? Okay, nurture. So we have to use social to connect. We have to stay in touch with our customers, with our current customers. And then this is the other thing about nurturing that I almost skipped, is to use live videos, direct messages, and voice messaging in order to inform, support, and build relationships. So of course, you seeing me live, if you can see me and hear me, it will help you to build relationship with me faster. If I DM you, of course, I can create a conversation with you, but even better, if you use the messenger, where the voice messenger inside of the direct messaging, then they can hear your voice, and that's better than just the written word. And honestly, it's a lot faster. So if you're not doing that, I suggest that you start. You guys will be getting some voice messages from me probably this week. I'll be popping in and talking to you guys that way. So I'll be setting that example for you. So then we go into how do you inform and inspire. And that is that you share customer testimonies, because when you can share other people's results, even if it wasn't your customer, then you are telling a story basically, and that is going to help people to go on the journey with you. And your own personal stories are really powerful, because if you have a personal story of the way that something impacted you and you tell that, then that is going to help them to really understand what that product can do for them so much more. And it also is a way for them to understand the result that they can expect. And that's really important because, again, people don't understand how to use a lot of these products. Our job is actually to inform them. And we need to make sure that we are giving them a lot of information. So many times we want people to start buying the products and get on a monthly subscription of some sort, or we want them to join the team, but they don't even really understand what it has to offer. They don't even know what the products do. So make sure you're doing a good job sharing information, but you need to do it in a way that is more personalized, not just sharing an advertisement day after day after day. Try to make it personal. Talk about how you use the product. Talk about how it fits into your life, how it's changed other people's lives. Talk about how it can give them an idea of how it can change their life. Tell stories about what it can do for them. Does that make sense? All right, May said something. So, all right, yeah, so May says that it's relevant to what she's doing. It is. It's relevant to most of us, especially if you're in this group, Social Selling Success Society. It's relevant, but it so is. And then we need to make sure that, I alluded to this earlier, that you need to make sure that you personalize all posts. So you don't have to come up with all your content yourself. You can go out and search out great information that then you're sharing on your page, in your group, with your people. You can be linking other people's material, but it's really important for you to personalize it. Make sure that you are personalizing whatever you're sharing, because people will pay more attention to it, and even the search engines will more likely recommend it if you have personalized it somehow instead of just sharing without a comment. So I know for Facebook, if you put a little something in there instead of just sharing it, it gets more views. And if your company makes something really awesome and cool, personalize it somehow. Even if you need to disseminate that and send it out in your own email over, if they only do it once a month, maybe you break it down into 4-week little segments where you refer back to the newsletter, but you're telling them something that was in it. Because like I said, that newsletter might be great. I never read it. I don't know. So let's find ways to take that corporate material that is really well done, and thank you, corporate, for trying, but people want to hear from you, not from your company, okay? I hope you could understand that. And then the last thing is to make sure that you are posting consistently 5 to 7 days a week. 5 is really plenty. It depends on your customer when they're looking at their posts. I don't always post on the weekend. Sometimes I try to schedule something so something posts, but normally I'm not paying, unless I'm scrolling. The weekend might be a time when I go and encourage other people rather than do my own business stuff. And so make sure that you are posting 5 days a week, and that you create some kind of weekly content. Now we're going to be talking a little bit more about this, but let's just say that it's an email. And it's an email where you could tell them anything, really, anything of value, inform them in any way. But we need to be having some sort of weekly valuable content for people. It can be a live on Facebook. It can be a video that then you share an email to them that you made that shows them how to do something. It can be an informative video. Like, I know May is in real estate, and so I talked to her about, what if you were to go into different places around town and just make a video about, have you ever been here? This is what they offer. Come check it out. It's goodwill for the place that you're at, as well as it's giving you valuable content that you can put out to them, and they're like, wow, I didn't know about that place. I think I'll go check it out. It feels valuable. So we will be talking about that further, and if you have any questions about what that can look like for you, please, ask. Let's talk about it. Let's open a discussion, okay? I didn't mean to just talk at you today, and I hope that we can continue the discussion in the group and talk about all of these different things. But on day 1, you have your homework, and don't worry, it's not too intense, but it is valuable. I promise you, nothing I'm doing here is meant to waste your time. It's going to really help you to get clear on a few things. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you just to try to answer them to the best of your ability. And then we're always going to have a taking action prompt, and so that we can create some engagement each day in the Facebook group during this challenge. I want us to be able to have an ongoing conversation, and that's just a way to kind of share and give each other ideas. When we answer that question, it's going to give somebody else an idea. And then it feels good to know that you're not the only one that posted too. So let's make sure that we do that. So tomorrow, come back. We are going to be talking about simple and spam-free social selling tactics. And these are some things that I bet you haven't heard about. So I'm excited to go over them with you. I'm recognizing my mistake of when I make my notes. I try to give you guys all the things, and I didn't even put fill in the blanks because I just felt like I just want to give it all to you. And if you missed this or you get this later, I want you to be able to go back over it like notes with everything there. But it definitely made it kind of difficult for me to teach from because there were so many words on the page. And so I apologize if today I was a little bit like discombobulated because I had too many words on my thing. So I think for tomorrow I'm going to prepare myself a separate page of notes so that I am not overwhelmed by all the words on the page. But come back and join me tomorrow. It's going to be good stuff. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I so appreciate you, and I am so excited to get you to the end of day 4 and to see how much knowledge you have gained about social selling, because it will make your business grow. All right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.